I'm making clear that we've got Dave Wiltshire and Craig Lemon here tonight, and there aren't many people between them who know much more about the spectrum system. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. This is the opportunity. I'd also like to actually thank Horizon Hobbies, who Mr. George Lander has been incredibly helpful explaining my stupid questions over the last few weeks. Before we actually look at spread spectrum itself, let's just have a quick review of 35 meg. 35 meg is a classic narrowband system. It works to 10 kilohertz channels, which really is pretty narrow, and it's actually not bad. It's pretty good at rejecting adjacent interference, really. What it's really bad at is rejecting interference on channel. If someone turns on your channel, the chances are the plane's going home in a bin liner. And this is where spread spectrum should actually change our lives. Now, what exactly is it? There are lots and lots of definitions of spread spectrum. This is about as simple as I can find, mainly because one I could understand. So it's a radio transmission that's distributed across a wide range of frequencies, and we'll see how wide in just a moment. And then it's collected by the receiver and spun back into the original signal. Just to compare 35 meg with spread spectrum channels. So we've got our 10 kilohertz spacing on our 35 meg channels. There are two modulation techniques which we'll look at in a minute on spread spectrum. The frequency hopping has 1 megahertz wide channels. In the UK there are 79 of them. Now 1 megahertz is 100 times as wide as the narrowband channels we're using on 35. Direct sequence channels, they are 2,000 times wider than our 35 meg channels. So it really is splitting the signal right across a whole range of frequencies. Right, a couple of useful things about spread spectrum. I'll mispronounce that all night, by the way. It's license free on the ISM, Industrial, Scientific and Medical bands. It's a wonderful name, ISM. I can't quite reconcile what your wireless doorbell or garage door opener has got to do with industrial, scientific and medical, so it seems to be just a free-for-all. Everybody uses it for whatever they like. The most interesting thing about spread spectrum is that there is a major requirement of all the equipment. Any new equipment that comes out must, in the main, not interfere with existing equipment. And this is really a prime directive on spread spectrum. You can, broadly speaking, do whatever you like, but it mustn't interfere with stuff that's already out there. Similarly, it is expected to reject interference from other systems that exist, on whatever techniques they happen to use. Bit of history. 1903, can you believe it? There was a patent issued in the United States for a frequency hopping system. It never got built, but it was interesting. And in 1908, 100 years ago, there was a book published in Germany that refers to Telefunken experiments with frequency hopping. Pretty mind-boggling stuff. There was loads of patents and crazy systems proposed in the 1930s, but nothing really ever happened. What we needed for technological development was a world war, absolutely marvellous. The US Army developed a super secret comm system, allegedly for communication between Churchill and Roosevelt, although they say they're about almost everything, that incorporated spread spectrum. And in fact, all the real detail on this has still not been declassified. While they've released fair bit of information about it, it's all still very secret stuff. My favourite, though, is a 1942 patent by Hedy Lamarr, the film star, and her husband, which actually suggested using a player piano roll to hop across 88 frequencies. This was a proposed system for radio-controlled torpedoes. Well, I can actually cope with the idea of a transmitter holding a player piano, but trying to get the roll into the torpedo so it can decode it, I think it was a marvellous idea. The US Navy turned it down very politely. Okay, the 1950s, into the Cold War, and the US military are going crazy, sending out subcontracts to all sorts of people to investigate spread spectrum and super secret spy stuff. All classified, much of it still is classified. And it wasn't until the mid-1970s that this guy's book came out in the States actually talking about spread spectrum systems. It was the first time any information had really been released to the public. 1980s, there were some custom systems introduced in the US, used by services. I don't know how the radio navigation worked. Truck communication systems, which apparently is big news in the States, but hey, that's American truckers. The big breakthrough was 1981. The US Federal Communications Commission, it started to explore ways of actually using a spectrum in civil uses. This actually met with an incredible amount of opposition from the military and from their contractors who wanted to keep it all dead secret and make a fortune, presumably. And then in 1985, the FCC actually permits unlicensed use in the three main bands for ISM, and that was the start of everything. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, even wireless doorbells, all flow from that decision. As far as we are concerned with our radio control stuff, in 1995, a guy called Paul Beard, who's actually British born and educated, an electronics engineer, who's working on a spread spectrum system for Hertz rent-a-car in the USA. I suppose nobody's perfect and he flies model helicopters, so he had two shot down by other club mates turning on. And he was thinking, well, if I'm doing all this stuff that rejects interference for Hertz, maybe I can use the components and the principles to actually develop a radio control system. And he started work on his spread spectrum system, using all the bits left over from the Hertz system. He spent 7 years working on it. He spent an enormous amount of time and not an inconsiderable amount of money. And by 2003, he's got a viable prototype for it. He got together with Horizon Hobbies in 2004, and obviously there was no time wasted after that. 2005, the Spectrum 2.4 gig system appeared. And just in case you think the BMFA doesn't care about 2.4, last year they actually awarded him a trophy for services to model flying, which I think was pretty impressive. Anybody here got a BMFA trophy? No. Okay, we've talked already about the requirement to reject interference. So the systems use some incredibly complicated modulation techniques to actually encode the signal. And there's no way that a spread spectrum signal can be interfered with in the same way as a narrowband signal. It can be interfered with, nothing's absolutely perfect, but compared to a conventional narrowband system, it's very, very difficult to actually chop around with. Okay, the main modulation types. Frequency hopping, and I'm sure some of you have come across